I was diagnosed with alopecia areata universalis at about 5 years old. Um, Very interesting time for me. I remember my mom always having to fight with me to get my hair washed, and I hated it. Laying across that sink with that pillow and prepping me up, and never to realize that that precious moment in time would eventually never happen again.
It was interesting to all of a sudden have her up on that kitchen cabinet, laid back, because she was only 4.5, and she's saying, I don't want my hair washed today. And I'm saying, well, we've got to wash the hair. So you have them laying after you moved all the dishes off the rack, laying across that cabinet, and her head is under the faucet, and you're trying to just soap it a little bit. All of a sudden, there is a couple of strands of hair that comes out. You don't think anything about it because one does shed hair. But then by the time you wash the hair again, and all of a sudden there is more hair that's coming
My
out.
hair started to come out around that age, and first it started off in patches, and over time I became completely bald. Um, Having the condition made me stronger now, but it was a very, very, very difficult time.
So going to the pediatrician and saying, what could possibly be wrong? And the pediatrician saying, oh, it's not that much. It isn't going to be anything. And thinking possibly, well, maybe she should be on some type of supplement or something. So you go about your business as usual. And then all of a sudden, there comes clumps of hair within a matter of 3 months, 4 months. The worry sets in, and you're not taking just the pediatrician's advice. You're thinking, let me go further.
I remember having to play, and I would actually take a turtleneck and put it on my head so that it would be my hair when I would play, because I just really yearned to have my hair back. Always praying to God, asking for Him to bring it back, and realizing that it wasn't coming back. So, definitely brought a lot of tears and fear, knowing that something that I thought nothing of would ever leave me forever.
So over to the University of Chicago hospitals I went, saying there has to be some issue here, and I'd like to get more information about what this could be. They're doing testing, and they said, well, we aren't absolutely sure. So after going over there a few times, they suggested, well, if you want to go further, well, there's always Mayo Clinic. And that's what we did. We got on an airplane, went to Mayo Clinic, stayed 3 days. They did a biopsy because by this time her scalp was actually shown. So there were big splotches of hair missing, and she was bald in certain places. And all the cute ribbons and all the barrettes in the world could make my baby have more hair than what she had.
I remember how difficult it was to transition to having a full head of hair and then starting to lose it. Being in kindergarten and growing up in Chicago, a lot of my peers watched as my hair started to diminish and thin out and eventually completely leave. Um, it was quite difficult. Um, but what was more difficult was when we transitioned
Coming
to
to
Atlanta
Atlanta.
in the fourth grade was quite difficult. Miss Shirley Jones was my fourth grade teacher, and she really was very influential in developing my character at that young age. Transitioning to middle school and high school was also kind of an adjustment. I always was nervous about would the kids tease or how would my bus ride be on the way home, because kids took advantage of the fact that they could bully me or make me feel uncomfortable. So I just always had to make different adjustments. I remember in the seventh grade having this particular student that would always harass me and bully me. And I would literally, to avoid having to pass her, I would leave the line, headed to the lunchroom to go around the building so I wouldn't have to pass her in that eighth grade class. So it's interesting now because we are very good friends now, but you just never know the feelings on the inside, how they will just evoke such emotion and how your self esteem is so tarnished at that time. So hair was a big deal to me. I always wanted to make sure that I looked like everyone else. Unlike kids that have to wear glasses or braces, being without hair was a little different for me. So my mom did the best she could to ensure that I was able to get to the various wig stores and try to look as trendy as I could. When I got to Atlanta and no longer had the same stylist from Chicago, I met a young lady who had alopecia actually and told me about Mina's. And Mina's is in College Park. And I've been going ever since. It's interesting because now the mother who started doing my hair, now her daughter does it. And we're the same age and very close friends.
Hi, my name is Mina, and I'm Jemia's friend and wig stylist. Jemia and I have known each other for a very long time, ever since we were little girls. In the beginning, when she first started coming to the store, we didn't really interact very much with each other. It was the first time I had ever seen a little girl who actually needed a wig. I was used to seeing adults coming in, and it was the first time I had learned about her condition. Once she got a little older, I guess my mom felt that she wasn't as trendy, and so she kind of passed on that responsibility to me. And that was when I really got to know Jemia as a person and as a friend. And I had the honor of fixing her styles and trying to keep up with the latest hairstyle trends and just keeping her beautiful.
I went from trying to make sure I had the hottest bob to stacks and all the many different hairstyles that would have been of my era in the late 80s, early 90s. So that was pretty cool. Everyone couldn't really rock the same styles, and I could change up in a matter of minutes. So I think some of my friends may have been a little jealous about that.
I've known Jemia for over 35 years. We first met when she moved next door to me when she was 10 or 11 years old, and we were playing outside, just sitting in the driveway. And she said, I want to tell you something about me that I haven't told anybody and no one knows. And I was like, what? I was like, what's wrong with you? She was like, nothing. She was like, well, I have a secret I don't like to share. She was like, I have something that Diana Ross wears, that famous people wear. And I was like, what, makeup? And she was like, no. She was like, I wear a wig. I was like, okay, what's wrong with that? She said, I have alopecia. That was new to me. I didn't know anything about alopecia, but I knew from then on we had a bond that we couldn't have forged any other way. I was jealous of Jamia because she could wear her hair in so many different styles as a little girl, but for her, it was more of an obstacle and a challenge as opposed to something that she could take forward. And I guess she didn't necessarily think that somebody would be jealous of. But from our friendship, it established a bond that has never been unbroken. When I was 16 years old, Jamia gave me this ring she found outside. And she said, this is my ring and I want you to have it. I found it and I wanted to give it to somebody special. And so I've had this ring over 30 something years. And it was just a true testament of our friendship because she's always been more giving of herself than she has. And for her to have this camp, for others to have an opportunity that she didn't have growing up, is a true testament to herself and the things she believes in for other people.
Camp Strand started as just a mere thought as a kid because I never wanted to have others feel as I did, where I couldn't find anyone that looked like me. So I'm very excited to know that now we have a program, an initiative, a community that allows for families and children to come together in hopes to make sure that that child or that adult no longer has to feel like they are in a place with no hope and no one cares. So I'm very, very, very excited that we have Camp Strand, and we look forward to bringing more awareness and more people together